panelists are Aditi Agarwal, founder GTM Unbound, Shreya Agarwal, Director and Chief Product Officer, Think Future Technologies. Sure, please do join us on stage. Amit Mishra, Head Startup and VC Relations Yota. Moderating this panel is Shweta Sharma, Senior Engineering Manager at Intuit.
Hi everyone, welcome. I see the attendance is quite low. It is the after lunch effect. However, I'm very confident that you're going to enjoy this panel with all these talented people. Um, as Kajal has already shared a brief intro, I would really like to welcome all of these folks here. Today, when we explore something deeply relevant to the India market and tech evolution, how ideas are becoming more global, shaping the industry globally, from idea to impact is not just a journey. It's becoming a repeatable or repeated playbook for SaaS and AI startup emerging from India. And as you all know, India has moved from being just a talent supplier to be a builder of world class products with cloud maturity, developer density, and affordable compute, global capital access, and the rise of India and the startup ecosystem. The next decade actually belong to India built global companies. And I'm so glad to have a panel who is already there shaping this global industry through their startups, through their contributions. And they're going to unpack exactly how founders can scale SaaS and AI startup at global level from India idea validation to infrastructure, GTM, leadership, and global readiness. And I hope you all enjoy this panel and take some takeaways to home to build your own startup. Let's get started. So, Aditi, I will start with you. Let's start with how founders can really validate their ideas quickly and globally. You have actually lived this journey yourself by providing platform to so many Indian startups firsthand. What was the defining moment when you realized that your company could become a scalable global business, and what almost stopped you from or your team from pursuing it?
Sure. So these are three parts to the question. So nothing happens very quickly. You said like scaling quickly. I don't think it can happen quickly. I think it should happen steadily as we understand what we are building, as we understand where the growth, which direction the growth is happening. So it should definitely happen steadily, and it can happen globally, and you can be a global first startup depending upon what is the product, how is the ICP defined, do you understand the ICP well enough and understand that they sit globally. If they sit globally, then do they sit in just in one country, let's say a very large mega market like US, or is it India and just Southeast Asia? There are so many variables to it. So um, my journey started with GTM Unbound, wherein I work with large technology companies who actually help early stage to mid market technology startups with their growth. And this is growth across GTM, growth across payment infrastructure, growth with a fund. I think one of the turning points where I felt I was struggling was to be confused as instead of a tech enabled platform as a service company, which made me rethink on the growth strategy of GTM Unbound, because it is not just a services business, and not because I think global consulting firms don't scale or don't make money, but it's just in the world of AI. I think I want to. Today I have a tech-enabled platform. Tomorrow I want to build this into uh, a universe which is AI first, and we are able to do the GTM, a lot of GTM that we do for our clients on the platform itself. So That was where, it was. And what was another question that you asked?
And I think what really you and your team, there was a point when you thought, okay, no, this is not going to work. This might be a hurdle. This might be a challenge.
Yeah, so being confused as a service company was a big challenge for a small. I mean, I have a team of 5 people, and it is also across US and India. So the turning point was when I understood deeply that the problem between the founders in India and founders in US. I work across 3 markets: US, UK, India. The 3 markets that I understand, and I've spent several years living there, working with several companies there. That each tech founder has similar problem, GTM. Whether you are building and scaling in US, or you are building and scaling in India or UK, when the problem is similar, I thought like this is where we want to go deep, and that was a turning point for growth. Uh, is this relevant to the audience? Just want to make sure, what is the audience like right now? How many of us are builders? How many of us are entrepreneurs? Um, how many of us are entrepreneurs of any kind, any product, service?
Or how many of us thinking becoming an entrepreneur or starting their own startup? Wow, good. Okay, so I'm sure it's going to be helpful. I'm going to switch gear from service to product. Let's talk about that, Shreya. You are a chief product officer and someone who's building from India for the world. How has this ecosystem really helped you or even challenged you in creating a world class SaaS AI company?
Okay, so I think building from India for the world has been a very rewarding journey, of course, with its set of challenges. And I think a few of the advantages for the ecosystem and disadvantages I would like to highlight. The first one is the talent density. I think that's the strong point that India has. You can quickly assemble world-class engineering teams and build at a pace that is unmatched. The problem-solving mindset that is there is phenomenal. I mean, we have teams not only in India, but in Mexico, in Germany, across the world. But the quality of engineering that we see in India is by far the best. The second thing is around the cost innovation leverage that we have while building from India. You can very quickly iterate, experiment, rebuild products to make sure that you reach the product market fit as soon as possible, and at a price and pace which cannot be matched by Europe or US, right? And the third thing for me, I think, is the massive stress testing environment that we have in India. So if your product works in India, the kind of scale, complexities, and diversities we have in India, it will work across the world. And I think that is also one of the areas that we have been experimenting many of our solutions and products in. So, I mean, I think those are the strong points. But as far as the disadvantages are concerned, the main one is the perception globally. So, when you're reaching out to a global audience, you need to earn the trust twice. First, as an Indian company, and then second, as an AI company. So we have dealt with it by creating local presence, making sure that we have our localized offices which are acclimatized to the cultures that is there in terms of our client success. Then the different compliances that we should be adhering to as a tech company. That is something that we have made sure. And it sort of shifts the mindset a little, from perceiving you as a foreign company to more of a global partner. And that's where the enterprise doors, I think, really open. And then also like shifting to product thinking mindset. I mean, in India, we have mostly been a service oriented country, so I think few of the things in terms of having a long term roadmap, design discipline, infrastructure, GTM muscle, I think that becomes important to shift into that product led AI mindset. So all in all, I think building from India is definitely something that any entrepreneur here should be doing, leveraging all the advantages we have, and then go from there, look at these challenges. And I'm sure once this is done, you can really go head to head, even with local incumbents out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Amit, this let this conversation is leading towards you more on you are heading the startup at Toyota, you are heading the relationship VC relationship at Yota. I would really like to know, like these startups, right, especially AI side of it, are not the traditional startups, and they scale differently. You have data, model, and then you have infra deployment. All of these are very different milestones which we cover today, and compute becomes a competitive advantage here, based on your experience on the similar lines. What do you think is really creating the world class SaaS or AI startups here?
Sorry, can you repeat the last?
Really contributing to building the world class SaaS or AI startups? And what are the unique challenges you are facing or seeing faced by these companies?
I think the biggest challenge which I see, right, tech is not the moat now. Everybody can build a tech product today. As Aditi rightly said, GTM has become the biggest moat. The other challenge which I see is everybody, right, especially I would say in Bangalore, make things in silos, right? So you are not talking to enough to your customers. You're not talking to people who can actually become your collaborators, and that's something which should change. If you're building, and especially this is especially for people who are building now, right? Who is looking for entrepreneurship. I think important pieces come to these kind of places, find people like us, right? Talk to, and then validate and build. I think building is very very important. Uh, the other thing which I probably will, so I started the US, Europe, and Latin American ecosystem at Naukri. This was almost 17, 18 years back. And unlike probably what Aditi does today, take startups there, we never had that liberty, right? Jugaad, so we were actually doing this cold calling. I used to do what, 90, 100 calls a week, right? Cold calls. Nobody knew Naukri at that point in time in those markets. But I had clients like Boeing, Bombardier, United Health Group, Facebook. The first hires or the first hiring for India happened through me or my team, right? We probably would have helped. When I was there, like 700 odd large companies set up their first office in India. I never went to US for that. Today, the first thing people mentally think that I need to be there,
Yes.
right? Good gives you exposure, but until unless you have a product, you have some validation back in the country, it's just waste of money. It's total waste of money. You will not get your VCs there if you don't have validation. The other thing is don't jugaad. We love our jugaad in India, but then you go out and try to create a process around that jugaad. Doesn't really work. I have worked across, so I've brought a lot of companies to India, Germans, right, Japs. They have certain processes. So when you want to work with them, even if you don't want, there is a bias towards Indian companies or Indians for that matter because of the jugaad. They have seen our jugaad. They have seen enough Indians everywhere. So the other thing which you can change their mindset is you go with the process, which is your entire SOP should be so clear that if they say yes, you don't wait a month to deliver, right? You're delivering next day because you know what to deliver, right? Especially when it comes to product. Services, obviously, there is a lot of to and fro which happens. And the last point I want to make is don't make it a price sensitive thing, right? You can charge, if you believe in your product, you can charge whatever you want to. The other thing is you need to believe in you and your product. That's something, I think that's I would not say infinity complex, but that is something which comes in because we sit in a market which is very price sensitive. So change that metrics, right? I was a country manager for a Japanese company. We used to charge for a single hardware, we used to charge $50,000, right, per product. And people were paying in Japan. In India, we were not able to, get that. So there is a lot of disparity here, but you need to understand that, and there is enough and more ecosystem there. So reach out to people who could be your mentors in those markets, and then go in. Don't spend 8-10 lakhs to come back and say, it was not working for us.
Yeah, so just to sum, what I'm hearing is your advice to Gen Z is do not just look at the shiny object, traveling to US or abroad and just show with some basic ideas. Do the homework, prepare your prototype, do some process oriented alignment. Once you have the lead, you can materialize it much faster than just doing the jugaad around it.
Yeah. So the last point, sitting in Bangalore, the other best thing which is about Bangalore is you will find people from all countries in Bangalore, right? So you can actually reach out to somebody who is, said, I think there are some 40 odd countries, consulates in Bangalore right now, right? All of them are excited about us to take us to their countries. Talk to those guys. They will be the best people who can, guide you on what that market needs.
Yeah, and Aditi, I know you want to add something here. I have a question also for you on the similar lines.
I mean, I've been at Australian High Commission doing exactly this. Like I was a director investments and trade, and I would help startups to expand into Australia as a country. So very rightly said, it is a mandate of each of the consulates to help businesses in that specific country to expand into their country. So they're really not going to be even charging you to help you expand, give you
Wow.
all the information. It's one of their mandates to also go ahead and research specific data around you, find out partners for prospectives, because just by you going there and exploring that partnership is what the consulate advisors are paid for. So absolutely, please use thoroughly second the thing, use the consulate, use US consulate, UK consulate, and go say which region, which city is better, why for this product, etc. Please.
Okay, go to smaller markets. Finland, doing, so there are very small countries. You would just sign their form. There are markets, but they need people like us, right? So go to these markets because these are white spaces. You might not find a lot of SaaS companies. US, where Aditi spends a lot of time, too crowded. Everybody from the everywhere goes to US, but Finland, I don't think anybody goes.
And it's also expensive and hard to crack US. I mean, you need to be, I think
I know,
you should
just not
be.
expensive and hard, visa restrictions, so many other restrictions, and how the politics is going on. But I'm sure I love this because me being myself, I founded the startup, have done some things, but I didn't know that you can go to the consulate and reach out. Or these are the opportunities.
Like
Yeah,
I can tell you some very specific examples. Recently, I have, I'm expanding the company in Germany. So the FICI, they run an Indo-German business partnership program along with the Ministry of Commerce. And they select entrepreneurs, they take them for 21 days there. You can explore the market and they host you, they come to our country and, see where the business opportunities are. There are many chambers you can go to, PhD, CCI, and many others. And they call in ambassadors from different countries, and you can get exposure to the market very quickly. So all of them, as Aditi and Amit mentioned, there are many, many places where you can start exploring these international markets. And it's not just US, there's a big world around that.
Yeah, and I hope all of you are listening to this. I will provide you a time to ask questions to these panelists. So please note it down. But I have one more question, Aditi, to you here is many times, many teams, they assume that Indian PMF automatically translates to the global PMF. Beyond the product, what internal capabilities or team structure, process, GTM, and infrastructure, whatnot, must be in place before a growth stage SaaS AI company you are building, right? So, do we have to evaluate is it truly ready to scale into the mature market like the US? Is that evaluation has to happen before, or what is the stage where we should do these kind of evaluations?
I mean, the US market is very, very notorious for punishing folks who are not prepared,
Okay.
especially founders. And as a startup founder, you have less or you're low on capital, high on enthu, high on hustle, also low on resources.
Yes.
So I think a couple of things that should definitely be ready is that a PMF in India does not mean the US market is also ready for you and will also receive you as well as the US market. You must have a 24/7 US and India. These are two opposite time zones. It's 12 and a half hours right now. If you are not in a capacity to be able to support, then building trust without a good customer support, customer success team is hard for US. And I'm talking about growth stage companies who sell to mid-market enterprises, B2B SaaS and deep tech is what you have asked. This is a very, very high trust environment that you need to have to be able to support this need. Um, Small things like accent, small things like cultural nuances also need to be paid attention. And all of this matters because let's say you are at a very fourth stage of the deal and there's just one more to go, but you are culturally a misfit in a board meeting and one of the board members thinks that this is not going to work, you are not going to be a suitable partner, the deal is going to go off because this is not today, this is like a multi-year contract they want to sign. None of the good enterprises in US want to do hit and trials with product buying. There are a few more things that I think which make us the path more clear is you should definitely, I think, have a million or something in revenue to be able to plan the GTM playbook and then hire proper local GTM person. I'm not saying hire the VP straight away or hire the CGO straight away for the US market, but definitely have someone local on ground who understands and resembles them. So if it is US, then a white guy would really help you do GTM. There are multiple GTM playbooks. It's very hard to answer this without really knowing what startup, what market, what stage, what is the product, what is the ICP, is the ICP GTM leader, is it an AI tool that you're selling to a marketing leader, or is it a HR tech that you're selling to a people leader, or is it something that you're selling to a founder? And each of the GTM playbooks are different. You must also have the market experts there, one or two partners, one or two influencers in the industry. There are some things like large conferences and events that really work in the GTM in US. So how to style that right, having the right set of curation are some of the things you should go out there, expand. If I was one of you in early stage, I would go to the US, experiment, go to couple of conferences, find people, find prospects, partners, maybe talk to also a few prospects. Why would you not buy from me? Let's say if you were to buy, and then build my own small strategy and evolve it as I keep receiving response instead of just thinking, okay, let's go pack my bags. I don't think it can happen soon and fast like that.
I'm just repeating for her. You make $1 million and then go. Don't go right now.
Okay, so scaling when you are going from US to US, sorry, India to US, or building a team there, the scaling shift from 10 to 100 to 500 employees needs a very different leadership mindset. So, Amit, as per your experience, working with founders and different leaders, and you being a leader yourself, what is the leadership shift which you found was the hardest for you personally? And was it the customer obsession, the control on the organization, building culture at a scale? Looking at all of these, what was the things you were compromising, what you were really tightly holding on, and what was your hiring strategy here when you were thinking about taking these startups at scale?
I think the biggest mistake which we do, especially in India, we think ourselves as superhumans, right? Obviously, there is dearth of money, right? So you can't hire, but you need to hire certain people at certain juncture of your, your journey. You can't say that because I know the product, I need to do everything, or I need to get involved in
Yes.
everything, right? And this is something which I keep telling everyone, all the founders I mentor, is that you hate lalas, but you become a lala, right? What I mean by that is you go into micromanagement, right? You start getting into every nuances, and you don't have time, and then you complain to everyone that I'm not scaling because you
Yes.
don't have time to strategize. So you need to get out a certain thing. You need to delegate and let people fail, right? That's the other biggest mistake which we don't let people fail. I have done enough and more mistakes. Everybody does mistakes. You need to accept, right, that I will fail or my team will fail at certain juncture. I need to also educate them as what is failure or what is a learning curve, right? Or what is a disaster, right? So disaster should not be compromised. The disaster means you are compromised completely. So you need to look at that. Secondly, hire strategically. Bring advisors. If you don't have the expertise, you can't hire. So adding to Aditi's point, in India, outside India, bring advisors who can actually help you in your GTM, right? So somebody who have been a GTM person, somebody who been a tech advisor, somebody who been an investment advisor, can actually guide you, handhold you, so that you don't do your own mistakes. You learn from those mistakes, and that becomes very very important if you actually wants to scale, especially from a people angle. And the third very important point is, I think, partner, which is partner with people who can take care of certain things, right? So, for example, if I know there is a friend of mine who already have a salesperson in US selling to similar people, I can actually route them, right? Or we can have collectively, right? So Aditi invest half, I invest half, and we divide. You know that this advisor will spend 4 hours per day with me and 4 hours per day with you. These are again jugaad, but at least helps you to keep the cost low and scale parallel till the time you don't hire somebody full time for all these things.
Okay, so what I'm just like to summarize for the audience is we are really looking into delegate more, let the control go, let people fail and learn, partner with the experts who can help you succeed actually. And Shreya, I see you want to add something there?
Yes, absolutely. So I think, I mean, one of the challenges that I would like to share, I went from wanting to build the product myself to building people who build the product. And that was the biggest challenge, and especially in the tech side, instead of like thinking, okay, like how is it that I'm going to build it? You're looking at, will it get me to the outcome that is needed? And if I talk over the different, stages and how hiring differs, I think if you're at 10 people, you hire for a Swiss Army knife. So these people are like super, in love with ambiguity. They love to take ownership, and they will be, willing to wear different hats. So they're like very curious. They have a high grit, right? If you're like 100 people company, then you start, hiring for problem specialists. That's where your first product manager, engineering manager, your AI specialist, they come into the picture. And if you're like a 500 people company, you start looking at like culture carriers. And so these people, they think in systems, they have clear communications, they can, scale teams. And so that's how I feel, as you scale, your hiring differs. And I think going forward, it is not important for you to be in every room, but to build a culture that the right decisions can be taken even while you're not there. So I think that has been challenging as well as rewarding. But yeah, I wanted to share that.
Okay, and what when you say we have to do all of this, is there any other perspective you have, like when we are or when the companies are trying to enter into any new market, US, EU, what are the kind of barriers Indian founders faces there, and how did you overcome it personally when you went this way?
I think one of the things that I mentioned in my first answer was when you go to the global markets, you have to earn the trust twice. So, trust and traction, these are the two things which is like a chicken and egg problem. You don't have trust till you have traction, and you don't have traction till you have trust, right? So, how we went about solving it is first creating a local presence very early on. So making sure we had people on ground, customer success people who speak their local language, who understand the way of working in ethics. Then secondly, sort of having a compliance maturity. So we lean a lot towards the GDPR compliances or the security frameworks, auditability of our solutions. Also with AI coming into picture, making sure that we are having traceability right at the architecture level and not like an afterthought. So those are the things that we were doing. And I think the most important thing while we approach global markets, and that has worked for us, is having an outcome based pitch rather than a tech based pitch. So instead of saying, hey, we do AI, we go about saying, okay, what we do helps you reduce plant inspection time by 80%. Or what we do helps the time it takes, let's say, 30 days to 2 days. It has reduced that way. And that, I think, helps in, building that trust more than in even branding. So I think a combination of local presence, compliance maturity, and outcome based pitch can really help people approach global markets in a more effective fashion.
Okay, thank you. And Aditi, like there is a motto in founders I'm hearing a lot these days is start global even if you build local. Do you have anything to add into the Shreya's point there when we are talking about global markets?
I think mentioned multiple of those points. Maybe I could share an experience of mine. I think for US market, the journey was pretty hard. I'm the founder of GTM Unbound. My better half, he's the founder of Omnify. It's a B2B SaaS deep tech AI company selling to US enterprises. Both of us, I think for Omnify, we started the GTM about 9.5 years ago, US GTM, and the journey was pretty hard. At that point in time, we first went through NASCOM Innotrek program, wherein, for 15 days, we went to the US, met a lot of folks, bankers, lawyers, incorporation, structuring. Then we moved to GTM, then we, like Amit mentioned, advisors, experts. For everything you need money, for everything you need a plan, for everything you need to understand for your startup what is the right compliance, what is the right structuring, what is the right timing. There was so much of experimentation. I just think that your journey is like very individualistic and will be defined by your experience completely. So build your own playbook. It's Others playbook will not be very relevant for you. So start today, think about what you can do, go explore more, talk to 100 people. He's talking about 90 cold calls. You can still have warm connections on LinkedIn these days. Each of our networks, it's easy to explore. Some or the other mutual connect definitely comes. Today I wanted to reach out to an AI founder to invite him for my event, and I just requested another AI founder, and this guy is, I mean, it's a Sunicon, and he responded within minutes, and I was amazed. He's like, I've been following your work. I was like, wow, I'm so grateful. It literally took less than 15 minutes to reach out to somebody who I kept thinking since a week, how do I reach out rightly? So my point is, build your own playbook. Go, I mean, I'm a big fan and follower of Tim Draper, who runs Draper University and Boost VC, has been an investor in Tesla and the likes. Just came back from one of his hero programs, and he says, build it with gusto, and you know, the world is yours, whatever you believe in. And I saw a couple of hands here who are in the idea Smith stage. So the world is open. I mean, this is amazing. Happy to chat right after the thing. I'll be hanging around for 10 minutes if you want to chat, if you want
Yeah,
me to
that
be
would be
able to.
needed actually. We have already crossed our time, and I know I said we will take some questions, but I would highly encourage all of you to get time with these panelists off the stage. Just before I wind up, I wanted to take a few seconds to thank you, these panelists. And one last thing, Amit, I really wanted for audience interest, which we have not covered, the tech part of it. What is the one mistake, quickly, the AI startups are making today on the tech side, infra side, and all? And then we will close it.
I think the first mistake they are making right now is not talking to me. Right? Just to give you an idea, I work with Yota. We are the largest GPU infra company in the country.
Yes.
We own 60% GPUs, and I am the one who is giving credits for people who are trying to build an AI. So, feel free to talk to me. The other mistake is don't keep building. Talk to possible use cases. I also lead the GTM with startups. So what we are trying to do is we are talking to a lot of people who wants to build an AI, large enterprises, government agencies. The challenge for them is they can't build that fast like a startup. So you can talk to me. You have another a lot of enablers who can take you to these places, which probably as a startup you may not be able to enter. And as Aditi is, being very kind, she has been in the ecosystem. It's not easy for them to get anybody if they are starting up. Not it will take them more than 15 minutes to get somebody, right? But talk to Aditi. I'm sure Aditi knows a lot of people who can help.
have one quick point to add to that. I think one of the mistakes that people are doing on the tech side when it comes to AI startups versus the SaaS traditional startups is that they think they have to build 100%. The thing is that with AI startups, when you deploy it, it's only 50% there. And it's okay. So you need to collaborate with your customers, improve the model, take the inputs and all of that. So don't, try to make it 100% because it cannot be.
Well, India's movement is here. We are just not the coders, we are the builders, we are the product, now building the companies from smaller ideas and taking it to the highest level of the scale. You saw all the entrepreneurs here are already working with Germany, EU, Australia, UK, US. I'm wishing all of them, and I'm really thankful for the audience for being here today. Thank you so much, everyone.
So I'm just trying to get a segue into the conversation to tell them that they can take a question from the
Okay,
audience.
awesome.
So yeah, there's someone here. Arushi, can you pass the mic?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm Saloni. I'm a product manager in Google. We talked about how important it is to get product market fit, but at the same time, we said that enterprises are less receptive to doing hit and trial with new startup products. And as you mentioned, there is a chicken egg problem when it comes to trust and traction. So in that case, how does a B2B SaaS enterprise onboard their first customer? Like, how did you all, for your respective ventures, onboard your first customer, especially in the enterprise?
If there's a more question, I can take another
So we were selling to SMBs for the longest of time, for about 6.5 years, until we realized that we wanted to enter into the franchisor business in the US, which is like straight away you would have 180 or 200 such businesses in a specific country. And for our partner, for this specific customer that I'm sharing the example with, in 3 countries, he had more than 900 franchisees. We were the smallest one who went to them. In fact, it was sort of an inbound wherein they reached out, we demoed, we custom demoed instead of the other big players just demoed. That was one thing that gave an edge over the others. Then when they found out that we are a small company, at that point in time we were sub 1 million. um, it was a big disadvantage. Their CFO raised a very big concern, but we said we don't want to sell to you, let's partner. So if we become partner, the entire revenue of all the franchisees we will share. Your idea is to make them tech enabled and implement. Our idea is to provide SaaS. So this is one of the things that we did. It was a very difficult journey for the first 2 years because you are selling to enterprise and we were not enterprise ready. Like I said, we did not have a 24/7. We must have a 24/7 customer success if you're selling to both two different time zone markets, right? Or at least an 18-hour, if you want to, let's say the customer success is not or support is not available for 2 hours of the day, that's fine, but it cannot be not available for 6 hours of the day. Couple of other things are also there, but you have to define how to. Now this is again coming to, if you really want something, you will reach out to the right person or multiple stakeholders by telling that what extra will you want to do. The other companies were not ready to even build a customized demo and take the data, migrate it, and set up for the. We wanted to do it. We did 10 days of work just for this. We actually got the contract as well. It was hard. We were not, like I said, we were not ready. We were also not financially as capable as the others. But our product also had to evolve. Our product was also not enterprise ready when we pitched it, but the opportunity made it happen. So I wouldn't say, I mean, it depends on case to case.
Yeah, I would like to add to your question since you mentioned that, the chicken and egg problem, right? So first of all is to make yourself the best person to solve the problem and play on your credibility because the global market, it plays on the presence, the proof and predictability of your whatever you're pitching. And gone are the days when you just go and demo something you've already made. It's at the time when you actually co-create with the customer. So find that one person you can solve for and build it with them. And once you have that, it's easier to scale from there rather than saying, okay, like I have this build solution, I'm going to pitch it to everybody, and it ends up not solving a lot of people's problem. And use your network. Networking is very underplayed. Just building the product doesn't help. Use warm connects. Try to reach to that right stakeholder who will resonate with your solution and become the champion in the organization. So find those champions, and that's how we did it.
Just one point, and this is something which this playbook I've tried, tested multiple times, has worked everywhere. Reach out to people, talk to them as humans, not somebody with a cash, checkbook. Get that relationship going. Talk to them for 2 times, virtually 3 times, 4 times. Get them to trust you. They need to trust you as a human first, right? Like you. And I keep talking to my sales guys also that they need to talk, they need to just work with you because they like you. Your product will become secondary. While you're trying to sell your product, you are selling yourself first, right? So be that human they want to talk to. Grab a drink later on, right? That is very, very important. So build that. It's not something like a prompt, right? It's not AI, it's HI. So use your human intelligence to ensure you're able to reach out to these guys. You do your homework when you're talking to them. There is enough and more for or today for anyone on LinkedIn, right? Find some common connections. I talk about commonalities. So if you're talking to an Indian sitting in US, you probably find them same college, somebody same college, right? Say same city, right? Let's say both of you are from Bangalore or Lucknow or Delhi, whatever, right? Find common connections to talk about, and then as Shreyas pointed out, find common people also who can be there, icebreakers in between.
I think one thing that everybody needs to keep in mind is that it's never business between two companies, it's between people. So focus on relationships with people, and business will happen. Like, it'll happen.
Thank you so much.
I would also say checkbook is also important term. Money has no color when it comes to global market. So take the checkbook also.
Okay, we are running
Any other
slightly.
question?
We are running slightly delayed on the next panel. So, is there another question?
Since we have time, feel free to ask. No question is a bad question or not an important question. And this is not going anywhere. Please feel free to ask. I saw so many women entrepreneurs raising their hand at the start.
Hello. Hi. I have a small doubt with what you mentioned about customizing the demo. I work as a product designer in a climate tech. We cater mostly to enterprise SaaS. One of our main selling point is that we can provide more niche customized versions when compared to the large sellers available already. That is the starting point, like probably our go-to market strategy. One big problem is that these big enterprises all have their own process, and they are not even okay with twisting their process by 1%. Where to draw the line? Where can we customize, and after when should we stop? I don't know whether I.
Okay. I'll just say one thing. So, a lot of startups today fail because they cannot go past the demo. So, we really need to get into the messy infrastructure of enterprises, which means integrating with the SAPs, the MCPs, and just not in the lab. So, I think it's very important to get into their infra, integrate with what they already have instead of saying, oh, you need to change this. Look at their spending capacity. Is your product going to be a new expense for them, or is it an existing expense for them? And try to work around that. And that's easier way to sort of get through enterprises because they have such a hierarchical structure, and it's not easy to get to new approvals, new system integrations. Yeah.
So one thing is obviously like if their data migration is not there, it's not open, then it is restricted for you. But try to understand what are the other challenges within this infrastructure, specifically your product infrastructure. What are the pain points of couple of leaders, not just the POC which owns the project, but also person senior, person junior, colleague adjacent, and try to find out the universe of problems that the product is having, and then go a step further and say you are going to obviously be integrating with a couple of products. We literally offered them a platform and signed up to other AI companies to offer to the same enterprise customer. And that became our competitive advantage. We had to take, I think, about 120K on our own, the integration cost, because they were not ready to pay that. But that was a complete one stop solution when we said that we are going to solve this for you. But wait, these two things are also something that you wouldn't have to go ahead. It was a bet. It was for a multi-million dollar contract. This was a 120K bet. But we were ready to do that because we thought that it will solve for the problem of other three guys who are also on the board. And this is a technology board I'm talking about. You have to, like he said, human intelligence. When you are there, you're building a product, you're trying to customize it, you are a human trying to solve a problem of another human. If you understand their ICP well and the problem universe very well, you will know, and your gut will tell you, at least give you a direction of how far to go there. My 2 cents.
I think the last point I want to make is, if you keep accepting customization from every client, you're actually Infosys, you're not a product company, right? So, and you need to be very, very clear in your head that, do you want to behave like a service company? Then it's not a SaaS play, right? So you need to be, you should be okay saying no to some people.
Pick the first customer wisely. They should align with your vision because you're co-creating with them.
All right. Thank you so very much. We do have some mementos for you, and I'd like to call upon Nida to please hand them over. Thank you, dear panelists, for adding insights to, well, so many diverse perspectives that came about, which comes from your experience, lived experience, and your perspectives. If you still have questions for our panelists, please do get them once they're off stage.